Okay, so how about we finalize the exam preparation course or series for the time being, for April only, April of 2020. Because so far, these are the expected questions that you might see. Actually, they have crossed 100, it might be 101, 102 question total. This is the fourth video, where in every video, previous three videos, I have discussed like almost 25 or 26 questions for each video. So this is the fourth and final video for April, and you will always need to recheck the playlist like in May, June, July, etc. Maybe even next year, 3 or 4 years, depends on how long I will keep producing this. I hope I will do, and I will do always until this exam expires, like in 5 or 6 years from now. But anyway, whenever you need to take the exam, just try to review the series and see if there is any new video added. So for the final video of today, we will discuss from question 77 up to 100, 100 something. Okay, so starting again. Okay, everything looks good. Question 77. I will need the keyboard to be alright. Okay, this is a drag and drop question. Drag and drop the threat mitigation techniques. Threat mitigation techniques were three types: physical, administrative and technical, at the beginning of chapter 5, I remember. From the left into the types or the attack they mitigate or they try to defend themselves from on the right. So there is a configure a BPDU guard that wasn't actually meant in those three major mitigation that I've talked about. This should have been mentioned in chapter 2, but actually chapter 2 wasn't that really security something. Anyway, BPDU guard is a specification, or is a feature, actually it should be a feature that you enable on an interface of a switch, of a layer 2 switch, and its function will be whenever someone sends a BPDU to this device, and it should not send a BPDU to this port. What I mean is, you have a switch, like this switch is connected from this interface to another switch, and you know that this is your network, and also from this switch to a third, from this interface to another switch. It's okay. The word BPDU is a special type of messages that's only transmitted between switches. So it's a like a brother language. It's between them. This is a code between switches only. Only switches speaks and listens to BPDUs. So there will be some BPDUs that goes from here. There will be some BPDUs that goes from here, and you know that. And these links and devices are secured, but maybe one of the ports goes like for a server that's connected for a server, and servers should not send BPDU. They are not switches. So what you will need to do is that to enable a BPDU guard on this interface, just in case some guy tried here for whatever reason to disconnect this cable and connect it to a switch and start to send broadcasts or whatever he tried to do, or to join multiple servers, and it's prohibited, then this interface will automatically get an error disabled state, comes error disabled. Okay, because once you connect a switch, this guy will automatically send the BPDU to the other switch saying that, hey, I'm your brother, I'm a switch, and he says you shouldn't be here. Okay, so disabled, no. So this is a BPDU guard, and let's see, this is to prevent you from unwanted BPDU or fast enabled interfaces. Fast enabled interfaces are for interfaces that are already heading to servers. We talked about that, like some just like edge ports, but with a different function. So yes, I will definitely go with unwanted BPDUs to protect me. Configure a DAI, dynamic ARP inspection, for ARP spoofing. Okay. Configure a root guard. This is a BPDU guard that guards my interface in the switch from receiving BPDUs. Root guard is like, let's close this link here. Now we have three switches connected in a ring topology, and this definitely will ask spanning tree to be enabled automatically. So spanning tree will prevent loops here because this is a closed ring right now. Root guard is actually that, imagine that this interface is the root bridge. Okay, so this one will become the root bridge here. Root guard is a feature that you enable on one of the interfaces, like maybe on this interface, and it tells it that whenever you receive a frame from a next switch on this interface claiming that he became the root, maybe someone hacked the switch and reduced the priority, okay, because trying to make himself the root, then disable the interface immediately. Okay, so that you will prevent the priority of this the root priority, I'm sorry, the root bridge status for this switch to be stolen. So this is the I'm sorry, this is the feature or the functionality of the root bridge. So this will be for unwanted superior BPDUs, because superior BPDUs are sent only by or from the root bridges. Root bridges do send superior BPDUs to other switches saying that I am your commander now, I am the root bridge, send me everything. So superior BPDUs are sent by the root bridge, and root guard will defend you from that. One last thing is configuring NV access list, a VLAN access list. This is for 802.1q trunking, double tagging. Double tagging for trunking is actually, I believe, the same thing as Q92, and it is. It's not, I believe, it is. Yeah, it's for Q92. Q92 is something that definitely wasn't mentioned in CCNA. I don't know if it is in CCNP, because switching is really has been reduced in the CCNP enterprise. Most of the CCNP enterprise is about routing, wireless and design, like the CCNA, but there is no big dedicated chapter for switching like the CCNA. So this is what happened to the CCNP. But just in case there was a Q&Q, this is about having two VLANs in a single frame. One of them will be called the master VLAN, the other one will be a VLAN encapsulated inside a VLAN, which is the secondary VLAN. And this has big uses in big networks like ISP networks. This is not the place to talk about it. Maybe in the CCNP service provider, maybe the CCNP enterprise, but definitely not here. Okay, but whatever. So VLAN access list can be configured for the Q&Q double tagging. Okay, so this is for question 77. That should be good. Jump into question 78. Which command prevents passwords from being stored in the configuration showrun in config as a plain text, and someone can read it by his eyes and knows the password to get into this router or switch? Okay, option number one is enable secret. Actually, this can be correct, because enable secret will create a hashed password for accessing from the user mode to the privilege mode only, just when you hit enable, just like we have done in chapter 4 for SSH. Yes, I did that in chapter 4 for SSH. Yeah, it was just chapter 4, not chapter 5. In the lab with routers and switches, both of them. So enable secret will ask for a password once you hit the word in the command enable inside a device. So yes, by hitting the show run, you will see enable secret and hash thing, but actually it's only about ABC123, but it has been hashed. But so this can be true, but we are talking about passwords, the login password, the enabled password, etc. So we can't really rely on that, because this is only for the enabled password, not for the for the all the entire passwords. Enable password is creating a password for the enable command also, but this will be cluster clear. It will be a plain text, so this is a disaster. Service password encryption, yes, we can consider this one as correct, because encrypt all the passwords in the service actually. And the final one, username Cisco password encrypt. This is about creating a username called Cisco and has a password that's called encrypt. This is not about encrypting. This is the password itself, ENCRYPT. It's not about creating an encrypted password. So definitely it will not be this one. So good. By eliminating 3 definitely incorrect answers, then the 4th will be the correct one. Sometimes this might be helpful in the exam to relieve you from the stress. Okay, so question 79. Oh, there is one. Okay, will be just 1 minute. Yes, refer to the exhibit, and this is the exhibit. a network engineer must block access, okay, for all computers on VLAN 20 to the web server via HTTP. Via HTTP means TCP/80. Okay, since there is some blocking and access list definitely, then we are talking about HTTP. So it's either I deny www or I deny TCP/80, and we did that in the lab of chapter 5. Yes, I think so. So we need to deny all guys on VLAN 20. This guy is on VLAN 20. This one is on VLAN 20. So we'll need to deny their IP addresses, or let's deny their network. Okay, so this is interface VLAN 20. Deny the entire network. Good. VLAN 10 is allowed to reach this web server. Anyway, all other computers must be able to access the web server, which is VLAN 10 only. Which config when applied to switch A, and of course it should be here. We should create an access list, and this access list, the source should be VLAN 20, which is this network. The destination should be the IP address of the server, which is this IP address, and the denied thing is either deny www or deny TCP source destination equation, or I'm sorry, equal 80 in the end. So TCP/80 is about HTTP, not HTTPS. That one was 443. HTTP is TCP/80, and also don't forget that we'll need to apply the access list on an interface, either in here, or definitely should be out from this interface. Okay, so let's see. By IP access list extended should, okay, so it should be extended. This one, permit IP any. No, actually this should have been in the end, because the permit IP any should have been written after the deny TCP from anyone. It's not even from anyone, and yeah, that's extremely incorrect. Okay, because permit IP any should be the last line. Okay, answer B. Config T IP access list extended. Also, this is a name that doesn't matter. Also permit IP any, so you'll permit everything. That's it, and this line will not be read by the router. I'm sorry. Jump in. Actually, this is a multi-layer switch, and the interfaces are layer 3 interfaces. Switches, you need to apply them on an interface, okay, not VLAN interfaces. This is a multi-layer switch, not a layer 2 switch. Okay, configure terminal. Okay, IP access extent is something. Deny TCP from anyone. This can be correct if we applied it on a specific interface to host number. Okay, the server, and it equals 80, so denying HTTP. Interface VLAN 10 applied as an in. No, interface VLAN 10 should be allowed. This is number 1, and number 2, the disaster here, there is no permit IP any. So all of these 3 are nonsense. Let's hope for number 4. IP access list extended www block. Okay, deny TCP any from anyone, from any host going to the server. Okay, then permit any other one, and then get to the interface VLAN 20 and apply it as an in. Okay, I agree, because whenever a host on VLAN 20 tries to reach the interface VLAN 20, which is its default gateway, then it will be blocked because it's in for interface VLAN 20. So D is beautiful. Answer D is the best one regarding the others. Okay, so question 80. Refer to the exhibit. This is the exhibit. What is the effect of this config? IPR inspection on VLAN 2. So all VLAN 2 ports right now are untrusted. Interface fast Ethernet 01 is an access for VLAN 2. Then this guy is untrusted. We need to trust him. Okay, so the switch port remains down until the interface is connected to another switch. This has nothing to do with IPR inspection, and switch ports are by default up and operating. DAI, dynamic ARP inspection, is disabled because the ARP access list is missing. Who says the ARP access list is missing? Okay, let's wait. The switch port interface trust state becomes untrusted. Yes, definitely, because it was by default on VLAN 1, and VLAN 1 is trusted because the ARP inspection was only for VLAN 2. And once you enable ARP inspection on VLAN X, all the interfaces access for this VLAN will be untrusted. Then you will need to retrust them again manually. and this was discussed in the chapter 5. Okay, so subnet is down. Thank you. The switch port remains down until it's configured to trust or untrust incoming packets. It remains down like just it was down. No, and no. I will go with C. Definitely. I will go with C because it was on VLAN 1, it was trusted. You injected in an untrusted broadcast domain, which is VLAN 2, and thus it goes down. Okay, so this is C for question 80. Question 81. What is the primary difference between AAA authentication and authorization? Accounting is not here, good. Answer 3 or 4 or 5 is not here, good, so it's only one answer out of 4. So authentication identifies and verifies a user who is attempting to access that system. It haven't really accessed yet. Okay, so I agree for authentication. And authorization controls that tasks the user can perform, so it controls its privileges. This is definitely the definition of authentication and authorization. It's correct. Authentication controls the system processes a user can access. No, this is not about privileges. Authentication is not about privileges. Authentication verifies username and password. Yes. And authorization handles the communication between authentication agent and user database. No, this is a bit of complicated. I'm not sure. No. The authentication identifies a user who is attempting to access. Yes. And authorization validates the user's password. No, 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 no. Is done by authentication, so it definitely will be A because A is very simple and clear, like we did in chapter 5. Okay, question 82. When configuring a wireless LAN with WPA2 PSK in the Cisco Wireless LAN Controller GUI, which two formats are available to select? Just like we did. Okay, we did access the controller, the WLC, in the pack tracer, but all what we could do is actually select WPA2 personal or WPA2 enterprise. Okay, so let's see that it's decimal, ASC2, hexadecimal, binary, and base 4. Let me just try to make use of the book. Maybe wireless security is in volume 2. What was it? PSK? Configure wireless LAN. Oh, this is an exam topic. Yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you. Exam topic. Configure wireless LAN for WPA2 PSK and using a GUI. This will only be done on a real environment. Live gear. This is a quiz. All three WPA versions supports two client authentication modes, pre-shared key, which is PSK, or 802.1x. Okay, so configure it using GUI. When, where. Two of the CCNA objectives involve wireless LAN for client connectivity with WPA2 and the PSK using only the controller as you work through. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. See, because actually I did not really face this question before. Let's see if we will search for something more specific like ASC2 in this book. No, it was not. It was volume 1. What was ASC? II. This is how it looks like. Terminal settings for a control access. 1 minute. The emulator must be configured. Use the PC serial on the switch console. The default console port settings. What's this one? Okay, so this is a device. This is after getting in. At what section this is? Cabling, the console connection, entering. So it's ASC2. Extremely. I don't want to leave that. Okay, so based on some infos from my friend that I know and the recommendation that he gave when I was typing this slide, he recommended two answers that I have no idea about, so I will not guarantee. That's better than keep digging. Just for now, we can use ASC2 and the hexadecimal format. Just for now. Maybe we should dig even more about that. I will also dig more about that, and just in case I found some guaranteed or confirmed answer, I will add it to the description of this video. Okay, so this is for question 82. I'm sorry. 83 is a D&D. Good. Hope it will be good. Drag the AAA functions from the left into the AAA services on the right. Okay. Authentication, authorization, accounting, the three brothers. Controls the actions that user can perform. It's privileged, so it's an authorization. Provides analytical information. Whomever does statistics, results, some reports, this is the accounting guy. So analytical information, this is the accounting guy. I've talked about that. Good. Records user activities, this is the analytical guy, accounting guy. Restricts the services that are available to a user. Okay, so it's limiting your privilege. This is authorization. So last two should be for authentication. Verifies the password, definitely the authentication, and identifies the user. Yes, 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 thank you. So these lines are not really clear. Someone like screenshot. Okay, control the action will be here. Provides, okay, this should be here, and this one should be I'm making like streets. Restricting should be here, and this guy, and also this guy. I think this should be a bit better. That was 83. 84. An engineer is asked, engineer every time. An engineer is asked to protect. One of the brothers advised me to work even more on my American accent. I was not native English, American, Australian, or not even European guy. Matter of fact, I'm an Arabic, most of the guys know, so I don't have time to work on that, but I have to work on that. I have to improve my English accent on American accent or whomever. Simpler. Okay, so an engineer is asked to protect unused ports that are configured unused ports. So they are extra ports that are configured in the default VLAN, VLAN 1. Which two steps will fulfill the request? Configure the ports as trunk. This is not protection. Enable CDP. No, we should disable CDP because we don't want anyone to just inject a cable in this port and tries to know whatever everything that's happening, or some informations from that switch. So no, this is extremely not. Security. Configure the port type as an access and place it in VLAN 99. If you are not using VLAN 99 in your network already at all, if you do not have even such VLAN in the service and carrying live traffic and so on, and access by some access lists or etc. maybe, so VLAN 99 will be like a black hole. Okay, so like you are routing it to the null. So that will be brilliant actually to access this interface, this port to VLAN 99. There is no such VLAN and no one knows it. So you have like isolated this port in a specific broadcast domain, and whomever inject its device to this port will just stop at that port, will not be able to cross it at all, and will have zero privilege. Okay, D, administratively shut down the port. Yeah, definitely that would be good because by default port switches are up. Configure the ports in an ether channel. This will keep it in service, and even if the members drops, single member will continue to work and operate. So this makes no sense. So it will be CND. Thank you. Okay, 85. An email user has been lured into clicking a link. You have been lured there. Okay, a link in an email sent by their company's security organization. What a shame. The web page that opens reports that it was safe, familiar, but the link could have contained malicious code. Which type of security program is in place? It's about, let's see, user awareness. Yes, mostly. Brute force attack. I don't know the details of that program, but I don't think so. Physical access control. This is not physical. This is not a rack or a room with a key card, with a card, access card. Social engineering attack. Probably not. So let's go with user awareness. Since if the user was aware of a signature in the email, the domain of the mail that received from, some font that's agreed to be only used by the organization employees, font type, font size, and so on, then he would know that if this email is genuine or trusted or not. I will go with user awareness actually for 85. Oh, 85, good. Then we are in 86, and it's a D&D. Drag and drop the wireless LAN control security settings from the left onto the security mechanism categories on the right. A web policy, this is a layer 3, so it will jump. Oh, actually we have layer 2 and layer 3 security mechanisms. Okay, so web is definitely a layer 3 something. Okay, pass through, I'm not sure about a pass through. 1 minute. WPA, WPA2 are layer 2 actually, and used between the client and the access point only. 802.1x is a layer 2 security mechanism that's enabled in switches, inside switches, and those switches should become like authenticators for the AAA protocol to take the AAA request and replies from the supplicant, which is the end device, to the authentication server, which is the AAA server, whether it was a radius or attack axe. So I believe I mentioned 802.1x in chapter 5. So if those failed and this one was here, then I'm sorry, you'll have only one seat left in the back. Go there. Okay, that would be 86. Not almost done. 87. Which feature on the Cisco wireless LAN controller, the WLC, when enabled, it restricts management access from some networks? TACAX and radius are for AAA. And AAA have authorization do limits the privilege, thus it can limit you from having any management capabilities. But this is what I'm talking about in routers and switches and firewalls, etc., in the LAN networks. So but inside the WLC there is a CPU access list and a flex access list. I believe the management port is directly connected to the CPU and managed by the CPU. So management might be controlled by a CPU access list. No, not these guys actually, because this is for LAN devices, and have no idea if they will work on WLAN. Probably not. But CPU access list might do that. Just like protecting your management plane. But we are talking about WLC, not those old devices that I have been working with for years. Okay, so I will use CPU access list, and I will need to double check that. But for the time being, CPU access list should be good. Which set of actions satisfy the requirements for a multi-factor authentication? Multi-factor authentication is like entering your password to get access to something, and after password you will do another thing, like a one-time password, OTP, fingerprint, face recognition, iris scan, and so on, just like mobile devices. Okay, but it's a multi-factor. It's either two-factor or a multi-factor. Multi-factor means more than 2, 3, 4, 5, like protecting the big safe of a bank. Anyway, the user enters a username and a password, and then re-enters the credential on a second screen. This is not multi-factor because you're using the same username and password on 2 different portals. No, no, no. The user swipes a key fob, then clicks through an email link. No, no. The users enters. Oh, it's users. Yes, enters a username and password. Okay, and then click a notification in an authentication application on a mobile device. This is a one-time password or a one-time authentication. You head to a website, it asks for username and password, and on your account you have already added your mobile number and verified your mobile number. So whenever you enter this website, first factor or first authentication, first factor actually, will be by giving username and password, hitting next, and next step will tell you it will tell you that it did send a request to your mobile phone. So you'll have to go to your mobile phone. There you will find like a request from www.x.com, whatever. Would you like to approve or deny? Like a big green correct and a big red X. So you will hit like accept, and that's it. You will be authenticated to get to the site. So this is two-factor authentication. So it's considered a type of a multi-factor. I will go with that so far. Or the user enters a PIN into an RSA token and then enters the displayed RSA key on the log screen. So this is like generating okay, this one is definitely correct, so I will neglect this one because C is correct. Okay, so this will be 88. 89. Oh, good. Internet is back. It was down actually. Okay, so anyway. Question 89. Which config is needed to generate the RSA key for SSH on a router? We did the prerequisites in order in chapter 4 for creating an RSA and to enable SSH v2. The RSA was the one with the 768-bit key. So configure a V2I access. We did enable V2I login, yes, but I don't think this one is a prerequisite or needed. Configure the version of SSH. No, this will happen after that. Assign a DS domain name. That was happened before the RSA, so it could be. Create a user with a password. This one I will do in the last thing. So these two things can happen after creating the RSA. And to create an RSA, you will definitely to assign a DNS. And this one is also I did also like hit line V2I from 0 to 15. Enable login like or such. No. C would be more than good. Okay, so assign DNS domain name. Yes, there was a the DNS domain name configured in the examples of SSH in chapter 4. So for 89, I will go with C. Question 90. Refer to the exhibit. This is the exhibit. Oh god, this question is full. An extended ACL has been configured and applied to router R2. Which one is R2? Okay, so okay, anyway, let's see. So there is nothing here that refers to. The config failed. Of course it will fail. No one knows the router. Anyway, okay. The config failed to work. Which two changes stop the outbound traffic on TCP 25 and 80 to 10.0.20.0/26 from the source of 10.0.10.0/26. Who's 10.0.10.0? This one. And it depends very wide. I did not. Yeah. The destination is this one. So we will need to stop the inbound traffic. So we will need to deny TCP 25 and TCP 80 from source 10.0.10.0/26, which is this network here, not just the PC, whatever network connects to this switch and has the default gateway of this one. The destination would be this broadcast domain. So this will need to apply either here or here, either an in, out, in, out. One of these interfaces must have the access list to deny TCP. This should be two lines actually, deny TCP 25 and deny TCP 80. Okay, while still allowing other traffic. Okay, so we should be specifying that deny TCP 80 from this source to this destination, deny TCP 25 from this source to this destination, and permit IP and any. So actually these are three things, and say choose two. Let's see. There was two answers that are enough. A. Add a permit IP any statement at the end of access list 101. Oh, there is an access list here, and hopefully I will read it to you, but hope that the font size is good. So on R2 it says configure terminal, access list 101, it's extended, deny TCP from 10.0.20.0/26, good, to 10.0.10.0/26 equal SMTP. Good, this one it will work. Okay, and R2 access list 101 deny TCP 10.0. Okay, the same thing from the same source to the same destination equal www. I agree. So these are correct config to be applied on R2, and then yes, it exited the access list without permit IP any, so it killed everything. Okay, so we will need to add permit any statement at the end to yes, definitely. And there is another one, says that interface gigabit ethernet 0/2, this one. So it definitely seems that R2 is this guy. Now it's clear. Okay, IP access group 101 in, which is this interface, and in. So it's correct. This config is correct. It's missing the permit IP any, and to the permit IP any to the beginning. No. It should be the end. The access list must be moved to gigabit ethernet 01 interface outbound on R2. 01 outbound on R2, which is this one. Actually it will work whether it was inbound on 02 or outbound on 01. It will work in both cases, so this is not necessary. D, this should be E. D, the source and destination IPs must be swapped in access list 101. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, because the source is 10.0.20.0, which is this one, and the destination is 10.0.10.0, which is this one. No, we were talking to deny this type of traffic, not the opposite. Okay, so the source should be 10.0.10, and the destination should be 10.0.20. Yes, definitely D is correct also. And access list must be configured on such interface. No, the interface is correct. Leave the interfaces alone. Okay, so it will be A and D definitely for question 90. Okay, almost 10 questions to go ahead and hit the exam. Question 91. An engineer must configure a wireless LAN using the strongest encryption type of WPA2 pre-shared key. Which cipher fulfills the config? WEP is obsolete and WPA came after it. Okay, so WEP is not even a WPA. AES possibly, and I believe it's WPA2, so it will be with 256-bit. RC4 is not the strongest because RC4 alongside with TKIP were used in WPA1 or WPA. So for WPA2 it came with CCNP and AES 256. So this will be B. AES will be strongest for encryption. Okay, so this is 91 after midnight. Okay, we need to 92. Which statement correctly compares traditional networks and controller-based networks? We talked a ton about that in chapter 7. A. Only controller-based networks decouple the controller plane and the data plane. No, an SDN is also decoupled. I'm sorry. No, leave this one. B. Traditional and controller-based networks abstract policies from device config. Yes, yes, they will negotiate and abstract policies mostly. Only traditional networks, which are the old guys, and until now we are using them, natively support centralized management, or even the new ones, because the new SDN networks do. That's why it's a new network. Only traditional networks offer a centralized control plane. No, even the new one. So no, yeah. So that leaves only this one to make it, and it makes sense. Okay, so it will be B. Question 93. What are two benefits of network automation? We have also had a ton of speech about that. Number one, reduced hardware footprint. No, the same amount of devices, but they are controlled by a single centralized point of management. No, reduced operational costs. Operational. It will reduce employees. Hold on a minute. Faster changes with more reliable results, of course, because of config consistency that we talked about. Fewer network failures because of config consistency. Increased network security. Okay, so I should choose only two. I can choose all of the four of these. But faster changes, yes, definitely, because you will select 100 router to reboot at the same time. So this is way faster. Okay, with more reliable results because of config consistency that we talked about. Fewer network failures also because of config consistency of a script that you have tested before. You guarantee the results of it, and in the future you have started to deploy the same script for all of your devices. I would go with CND, but BNE might also be correct actually, but CND are something that we have already talked about before because of config consistency, configuration consistency. Okay, so CND should be good. Been The problem is that I did mention the costs in chapter 7. I did mention costs. It was there in the slides because when I researched and I studied the courses of automation, it mentioned costs. It mentioned definitely reduction in costs. I will not leave this C at all. Okay, let's go B and C. I will go B and C. That's it. I will go B and C this time. 94. Which two encoding methods are supported by REST APIs? Two encoding methods only that we showed compared at the end of chapter 7 by using Google and EVNG, etc. The routers by default gives you XML, and we used the google.com with some websites to convert the XML to JSON because JSON is much more human readable actually compared to XML and its long line. So we will need XML and JSON when we are encoding creating a REST-based API. So XML and JSON. Yep. 95. What are two characteristics of a control-based networking? Okay, so the end seems only about chapter 7. Good. So A chooses telnet to report system issues. Leave telnet. Leave telnet. It's unsecured. Use SSH. The admin can make config updates from the CLI. He can, but as a characteristic of control base, you should use the GUI. Leave it for now. C. It uses northbound and southbound APIs to communicate between the architectural layers. Yes, yes, and definitely yes. It decentralizes the control plane, which allows each device to make its own forwarding decision. The imperative and the declarative approach, both of them do affect the decisions of the control of the forwarding plane. It moves the control plane to a central point. Yeah, exactly. Inside the SDN itself, inside the automation server itself. Yeah, so your devices will become brainless when you configure the or you deploy the imperative approach of SDN. So C and E definitely correct. And since you should use GUI, then leave the CLI. Leave B. C and E. Oh. Which output displays JSON? Good thing that we did type some JSON code and we have seen some JSON codes. JSON should definitely start with a curly bracket and then you will start the key value pairs. So this is a string, so there would be a double quote. This is a response and it should be enclosed by the double quotes. Okay, and there should be a colon. So far it's correct. And another curly bracket inside it. Good. And another string with some double quotes. And the colon. Okay, so far good. Curly bracket, bracket, empty value. And this symbol, I have forgot its name. This symbol is not supported in JSON. JSON you will use only this one, colon, and curly brackets and double quotes. Only these four guys. So this one is not supported, which is right here and here. Not A. This is A. This is B. This is C. This is D. B. A curly bracket with a string with double colon and a dash. Run away. No. C. A curly bracket with double quotes, colon, another curly bracket, double quotes, colon, curly brackets enclosed, and yeah, that's good. And string with double quotes, colon, string, etc. Closed. Yes. Yes. The four elements here, nothing wrong. All of them are pairs. Good. But these might also be correct. So a curly bracket, some double quote, enclosed string, dot. There is no dot in JSON. Yep, there is no dot in JSON. So it will be C for question 96, definitely. Okay, so let's head for question 97. And question 97 is about D&D. Drag and drop the description from the left into the correct config management technologies on the right. Oh, it's about Ansible, Chef, and Puppet, the three softwares. Fundamental config elements are stored in a manifest. Which one is that? Uses TCP 10002 for config push jobs. Actually, Ansible the only one that does push, and because it's agentless. Chef and Puppet, they use the pull. Not quite sure. Push should be for Ansible. Just 1 minute. Uses Ruby for fundamental config. Both of these guys uses Ruby. So which one should I give? Okay. Uses SSH for remote device config. Ansible gets directly push config directly to the device once you hit apply using SSH. TCP 8144 config for communication. These are not really most known because these are new. So TCP 8140. Just 1 minute, because I believe I have read something about Chef uses some 10,002. So this one, okay, since you are using SSH, then it will be TCP 2020, 22, I'm sorry. And let's give Puppet this one. Uses YAML. YAML is for Ansible. YAML is for Ansible. Yeah, I'm sure YAML is for Ansible, but just not wrong. 1 minute. Automation, software, SDN, DNA, programming, config management. These guys. Yeah. Ansible uses YAML, push, and Puppet and Chef uses Ruby. So I'll have to give Ruby to one of them. Okay, so whatever. So Ansible uses YAML. Let's eliminate the possibilities. So give me my pen again. YAMLs for Ansible. So I'm done with Ansible. Ansible uses SSH and YAML. Go ahead. And what should I have left? I have this one and Ruby. So that will be, Ruby is used for both of them, Chef and Puppet. Okay, so it will be for Chef. Ruby will be for Chef. Ruby will I will give Ruby for Chef, and I will give the last one, which is the fundamental config elements are stored in a manifest. This one will be for Puppet in a manifest. I will need to search for that, because Chef is called Chef because it has an element just like a chef book, just like a cooking book. It has some already configured and stored elements that you use as a reference to generate, to use themselves, to modify them. So I doubt that. No. Uh, for me, really, for me, I will give this one the manifest for Chef, because if it should happen this way. Okay, I'll give the manifest to Chef, and I will give you the Ruby. Okay, this should be done this way. This is was question 97. Okay, we are almost done. Which two capabilities of the DNA makes it more extensible? Makes it the best? Makes it a Cisco product? Okay, so A, list APIs that allow for external application to interact natively with Cisco DNA. I think you mean ICE, Identity Service Engine, because it's a separated appliance that you can connect it to the DNA, and there will be some APIs between them. Okay, might be. 1 minute. Adapters that support all families of Cisco iOS software. Yeah. SDKs that support interaction with third-party network equipment. I'm not sure, because I did not catch it completely. Modular design that's upgraded as needed. Customized versions for small, medium, and large. Yes, it comes with 3 versions. It comes with 3 versions. Depends on the number of clients, the numbers of devices, and so on. So even A can be correct, but B and E seems the most correct. Okay, I will go with B and E. Someone help me. Okay, it's not modular. You can see the image zone internet. I'll leave this one. BNE, BNE, BNE. Okay, this is correct, definitely, because I've seen its images and versions. If you mean that all of them, even the NXOS or the licensed guys, no, they support the licensed guides. But this one is correct. Okay, we can't. Oh, 1 minute. We can talk about automation server capabilities and the DNA center that makes it more extensible. This is about something that Cisco specifics. Okay, so REST API allow for external application like to interact natively with the DNA center like an ICE. Okay, ICE can do that. So A is correct. Adapt and support all the families of Cisco iOS. This one can be done by another server. This one can be done by another server. I will go with an A and E. I will go with A and E. Yeah. Okay. So it will be A and E for question 98. 99. What are two southbound APIs? The most famous northbound was REST-based, and the southbound were OpenFlow, OpenFlex, NetConf, RESTConf, and other one that I believe I've missed his name. So guys are here: NetConf, RESTConf, OpenFlow, OpenFlex, OpenFlex. All of them are there actually here. So NetConf and OpenFlow are good. Yeah, definitely they are southbound APIs that are used between the appliance, the automation server, the controller, and the network below. Okay, so that will be the NE. Question 100. Yes, you can imagine that. Question 100. What makes Cisco DNA Center different from traditional? We have just answered that 2 questions ago. Okay. Its modular design allows someone to implement different versions to meet the specific need. 1 minute. It only supports auto discovery of network elements in a greenfield deployment. Greenfield means that you need to have a DNA center in a new network, and you will start designing and deploying the network and installing the network, the devices, and adding them to this one. So starting from scratch. No, actually didn't even support already existing devices, so it's not really about greenfield. No. Just leave this one for a moment. It's only about answer 1. It does not support high availability of management when operating in a cluster. No, Cisco are proud of having the DNA that supports cluster. You can buy 2 DNAs, 3 DNAs, make them work as a cluster group, and once one of them is lost, the other 2 will operate immediately. They're still operating. It's an active model or design, not an active passive. So all of them are operating. When one of them goes down, the other 2 keeps operating and will not get affected until the third one gets fixed again. Okay, so they support high availability. It abstracts policy from the actual device config. We did answer that both the traditional and the traditional network management application and their management of networks abstracts policy from actual device config. But we did reply that both the traditional and the DNA network and the SDN networks does that. So mostly not D. For A, its modular design allows someone to implement different versions to meet the specific need of an organization. It doesn't have a modular design, but it does comes with various versions, hardware versions that supports more devices. Different versions. Yeah, implement different versions. I'll go there. A is much more correct than D. I'll go there. Okay. This is for question 100. 101. Which API is used in a controller-based architecture? Of course, it's there. To interact with edge devices. Edge devices are devices, normal devices in the network, which are routers. And since they are routers, then they are inside your network, and whatever goes between your network and the controller is a southbound, and from the controller to the application is a northbound. So it's a southbound, definitely, between edge devices and the controller-based architecture. It's a southbound. Okay. See. 102. Are we going to 110 today? Would that be enough? An organization has decided to start using cloud provided services, so they will not install heavy devices inside their network. They will purchase it online, and through the internet things will happen. Which cloud service allows the organization to install its own operating system on a virtual machine? Allows the organization to install its own operating system on a VM. So is that VM remotely or platform as a service, which is PaaS? Network as a service, software as a service, infrastructure as a service. I did always neglect these, even in the CCDP exam. But you're installing it on a virtual machine? I think it might be on infrastructure as a service. Just in case I found another reply or a different answer, then I will add it to the description of the video. Okay, so let's make it D for this question. That should be good. Oh, finally. Yes, we are done. Good. That should be good. That should be enough. We have talked a lot. We have talked a year. Okay, this is the end of this video. This is the end of, as you can see, 102 questions that you might see in the exam. It's good that I believe that about 80 questions, like 80% of them, are already mentioned in the series that I give. It might be even 85. So this is really good. This is a real relief that all the efforts that I give and to create the series, the course, and express all of these informations are about things that they are coming. Because actually, when I took my CCNA 200-125 exam, that was 4 years ago. No, the exam itself, I took it 3 years ago. More than 3 years actually, 3 years some months. But when I took it was about 58 question. Not from the course that I've studied. Most of them are not. Most of them are asking about some things that. What is this? When will I use this question? Wow. As an engineer, what's the benefit if I knew the answer for this question? What are these answers? It was really tricky and annoying, and you don't feel yourself that you were really examined like in this exam. But this one, I'm really shocked with the questions because they are really good. They're really asking things that I have talked about before, and I have mentioned those topics and discussed them before because you need them. You will use them in your networking environment, when you create, design, administrate a network. So having questions regarding them really make the exam as a high quality exam actually. Cisco exams are already high quality, but this one is good. And so far it seems that there is no labs or evaluation labs. If there was, I will give you information. Okay, so this is the end of the series for April part so far. If there was some updates in the future, I will add them. If there was not, for the time being, those 4 videos should be more than enough for you. After you finish everything regarding studying the CCNA exam, then you should review this series of 4 videos. So thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for everyone who have reached so far for this end of this 4th video, and I hope that all of it was extremely useful for you. Okay, thanks for your time also. Goodbye.